Alrighty. Now, can you guys see this okay?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is go into my recipes. And you'll see in here, you have created recipes over here. You guys all saw that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now, this will appear in your Cookidoo, in your app, on the website, and on your TM6 as well. You cannot import or upload recipes from your TM6 screen. You can from the app and you can from the website like we're going to do tonight. You can do this from a mobile device. It is actually quite easy to do. And when you are uploading recipes, there's 3 different ways you can do it. You can edit recipes that are already in Cookidoo. So, for instance, you might want to take the Skinny Mix's Chunky Bolognese recipe, which is already a recipe on Cookidoo. You basically import it again and then edit it. You might want to call it, Skinny Mix's recipes, but with tweaks 1, 2, and 3, or however, whatever you might want to call it. And for instance, you might want to say at step 3 that you want to add vegetables in, if that's what you would usually add in. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. But that is one way that you can edit them. So if you have tweaks that you usually make to the usual Cookidoo recipes, you can actually jump in there and edit those tweaks so that if someone else comes along to cook that Cookidoo recipe, they can just go along, and tweak it right off to guided cooking. The other thing you can do is import recipes. So at this stage, we are only importing from the Thermomix recipe community. And you import from there. And again, I'll show you how all of that looks. But that means that you can take a recipe that, say, Tammy, you've popped a recipe on the community. We could all tonight say, that looks fantastic. We all want that on our Cookidoo for guided cooking. We could all import it. You can also create your own manual recipe. So write it out from scratch. So this is one that you may have developed yourself or an old favorite, and that in that case, you're just creating your own recipes and filling out all of the fields. So the first thing that we might have a look at, you can see here, these are ones that I've already popped in here and had a little play with. But what we might do is see how I have a big green plus down the right-hand corner. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yep. If I click on this, see I have create or import recipe. So before I click on this, I need to know what recipe am I going to import in. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So I'm just going to jump back out into Explore. And for instance, who has a recipe that they really like to adjust that's on Cookidoo? First one that comes into your head. Who's going to go? Do any of you adjust Cookidoo recipes?
Yeah.
I do, but I wing it and just sort of, so I could never tell you which recipe, because every recipe I do, I just like, oh, I'll chuck in extra of this or less of this.
Yeah, same.
All right. Well, let's start. Let's go for a good old family favorite. Now, let's have a look. What's a good one? This one here is my favorite, Chunky Bolognese recipe. And click on it. Now, what you're going to do is see the URL bar up the top here.
Yep.
Yep. I'm going to click on that and then right-click copy. And then I'm going to go back into my recipes, back into my created recipes. And now we're going to import. So the reason that we clicked copy just beforehand is when I click on import, it's going to ask for the URL. So if I can jump in there and get that beforehand, then it just makes it a bit easier. Alternatively, you can always open up another tab or another browsing window. Depends on how you like to run your computer, really. So if I just paste that into there and I say import, here I have now Chunky Bolognese. So I can click up here and I can say Joe's style. All right, confirm that. I want to leave that as the name. I can change the image there if I want to. But down here, this is where I can have a bit of fun. So you can see all of this. See anywhere that is underlined and in bold over here under the preparation steps, they are all buttons. What that means is when this actually appears on your screen, these imported recipes look a little different to the usual guided cooking, and you won't sort of understand it until you actually see it for yourself once you import one. But you'll see this, it'll say place onion and garlic into the mixing bowl. And this onion contains, because it's been put over here, approximately 150 grams. If the scales are needed for that button, that's been put in there as part of the ingredient. And you'll see this when we edit it in a second when we need to add it in. What I mean by this is, say over here in the ingredients, I want to edit them because I want to add a new ingredient in. So I'm going to go right down to the bottom and I'm going to press the plus. And when I make this, I always add in about 500 grams of mixed vegetables. I'm going to click the little plus. So I don't want this to go in at the end though. I like to put this in just after I do the onion and garlic. So if I click on the 3 dots here, I should, oh, there we go, change order. No, here. They've updated this a little bit, which is good. So I'm going to take this, drag it up to the top. Now I add my veggies in about here after I've sauteed off my onion and my garlic. So you can see there it lights up for you to add it in. Pop it in. Now that means it's in the ingredients list, but it's not over here. So what I need to do now is add in a new preparation step. So down the bottom, or maybe here. Changing all of the settings on me. Oh, actually done. There we go. Got to press done. They've updated this a little bit, which is good because it was a bit clunky with how to drag them before. So that's a good little addition. So if I just scroll down and I press the plus on this side, now I'm going to say add, now what do we need to say here? Add in mixed vegetables. See, when we just write it in like this, it's not going to add in that scale addition of actually bringing up the scales. It would just have it written down as text. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky to do this. And this is why if you just import a recipe, especially from the recipe community, it won't work. This is why you need to sort of have a little bit of a play and work out how to do this. So if I click the little scales button, I can now say 500 grams of mixed vegetables. And then actually add that in. Now see how that one there is highlighted in black and bold?
Yep.
That means that is going to activate the scales. So when I get to this step, it will say add 500 grams of mixed vegetables. And when you tap on the 500 grams of mixed vegetables, it will bring up the scales and say 500 grams of mixed veggies, just like it would if you were in normal guided cooking. Does that make sense? Yeah, no?
Yeah, it does to me. Because when
Yeah.
I tried it before, I was typing in the ingredients, but yeah, it wasn't coming up like a normal step. It wasn't weighing it or anything. So that makes sense.
Yes, that's why. Now, along with adding in my 500 grams, I want to chop those up as well, because I don't just want whole pieces of zucchini and carrots and things in there. So now I would say chop. Now, if I go down here, again, I need this cooking setting, otherwise it won't activate it. I'm going to say 3 seconds. Oops, not 3 minutes. 3 seconds Don't need any temperature. Whoops. This is where it goes a bit funny when I'm in Zoom. Let's give it another go. My screen goes a bit funny. I hope you guys, can you guys still see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's moved to a funny spot and I can't move it. You guys can't see this from your end, but I lose pieces of my screen. They're taken up by sharing the screen. So I can't get to the buttons that I need to get to. All right, 3 seconds. And if I go here on blade speed, tool down, I want speed 5. So 3 seconds, speed 5, done. See how again that's highlighted and bold, which means when I tap on that one, it'll preset 3 seconds, it'll tell me to go to speed 5, just like real guided cooking. Now, depending on the sort of cook you are, you might not need that to be bold and highlighted. You might just need it to say on the screen, 3 seconds, speed 5, and you just manually turn the dial to 5 for 3 seconds. This is where you can really play with it. You know, sometimes when you're cooking with guided cooking, you don't necessarily follow every single little step. Like sometimes, you know, you go, oh, I don't worry about that, or don't worry about this. You can really put those own little tweaks in when you're doing this yourself. So what we're going to do now is click them over here. We're going to change that order again. So we're going to move that 500 grams up here, and we're going to add that in right there after we, oops, didn't move. Right there after we've sauteed off that onion and garlic, we're going to add in those veggies. There we go. And drop that in there. And we're going to add in that chop step. Take it up there. And add it in there. There we go. So does that make sense how that works?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So that's the only tweak that I want to make to this recipe. So I'm just going to go done. You can go back now, have a good read through it, make sure everything is right, confirm.
And this recipe you've changed, that's only saved to your recipes, is that correct? Or it's now on Cookidoo and everyone sees that?
It is just saved to my recipes.
Okay, and you haven't mucked up the original's still there?
Yep, original still there is chunky bolognese. This is just my style. Now, part of Cookidoo's clause is that they can choose to do what they want with their recipes that are on their platform. What that means is if they were to, down the track, see this recipe and say, oh, I love that addition of the extra veggies, they could then say, in our next cookbook, we're going to produce Joe-style chunky bolognese. And I can't say, hey, you can't do that. That's my recipe. You can't do that. Because as soon as I put it on the Cookidoo, I'm giving them permission that if you did want to take this recipe and publish it later on, you could, because it's on your platform. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that is the issue there of importing recipes that you have in cookbooks in your home or other recipes that you've bought online. Because although they will just be for now sitting in your Cookidoo library, no one else can see them, part of Allworks' clause and their statements are that if they do wish to use them at some point, they can. And that's where, you know, you would then be sharing someone else's hard work, potentially then to be published and get the mixer's credit for, if that makes sense. I know it is a bit of a bummer. It is something that may change down the track too. I don't know. This is really, really new. It was only the end of last year when this all got launched in Australia. So it is really new. And there are lots of other new things that are coming to Cookidoo, not just this one function. All right. But for now, the recipes that we're putting in there do need to be, you know, happy to be shared if they were to. Now, when you're uploading to the recipe community, which we're going to do next, I'm just going to stop this share for a minute. So when we pop them onto the recipe community next, when you upload to the recipe community, you all have to tick a box that says, I agree to the terms and conditions, which also state that if they like something off the recipe community, the mix may decide to then turn it into a Cookidoo recipe and have it on their paid subscription. They could also publish it in one of their cookbooks or anything like that. And that's something that thousands of users have always been happy with. everyone, there's so many recipes on there, and so many people have used it, and they've always just sort of breezed past that clause, or maybe even not even read that it's in there. It's just that once we've added this addition in, it's sort of brought that to light, and a lot more people are aware of it. So that sort of is the big, you know, the big difference there. All right, has anybody got questions so far?
No.
No? All right, now give me 1 second. I'm just going to bring up the recipe community, and I will show you. Give me 1 sec. Okay. So let's bring this one back up. All right. So can you guys all see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Now you can create yourself an account here on the recipe community. That is free. And that is what you'd want to do if you want to start, you know, uploading your own recipes and things like that. But you can, for now, you don't actually need to be logged in at all. You can see I'm not logged in here. So I'm just going to pick out something that I like. I'm going to go here with this top one. You're supposed to be in bed. You're supposed to be in bed. All right, so, oh, there's some good things looking on here. These wholesome banana chocolate chip cookies, that looks like something I would cook. Now click on the recipe. So if I say I want to make these in the morning, I want to make them with the kids, and I don't want to be cooking this manually. So what I'm going to do is, again, click up here on the URL, right click and go copy. And then I'm going to go back to my Cookidoo tab. I just have extra tabs opened up the top. Now, this was our chunky bolognese. We're all done with that. So I'm going to click done. Now I can see that there, it's an extra one that's saved. You can see all the different ones that I have there. And this time I'm going to click import again. And I'm going to import this one from the recipe community. All right, now I'm happy to leave the name as this one. I like that picture. But when you get down here, this is all one big step. And this is what some of you will have found if you've uploaded a recipe.
Yep,
So this
that's
will
when
all,
I gave up.
Yeah, this will all appear on your Cookidoo screen, but there is no scales built. There's nothing on there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have a look at this now. I'm quite happy to have preheat the oven and line the trays all as one step. So I'm going to click here and I'm just going to go enter. And that's just created another step. So what that's going to look like on my screen is that when I press start cooking, it'll say preheat the oven, line 2 trays, press next. When I press next, it'll say now, place almonds into the bowl and mill for 8 seconds on speed 10. So I need to click here at almonds. I'm going to press, let me see if I can get this to work a little better on Zoom. Almonds. There we go. It always plays up a little bit on Zoom. Yours won't do this. It is just maybe my internet, I'm not sure. But if I click, see the scales that's coming up ingredients. So if I go here and I go now, almonds. Now I can see almonds back over here. It was 120 grams. And see, this is now, it just took a little while to load. I was waiting for it. see how it's prompted me with my ingredients list. Yours will be much quicker than this. It's because I have so many things going on and my screen is, you can see now it's moved again. Oh, goodness me. I'm just missing that bottom part, which is a bit frustrating. On yours, we all get the whole list of ingredients there. And there's another way that I can make that work. Yeah, okay, it's coming up now. I'm going to click on it before it disappears. Beautiful. So see how that's now come up in bold?
Yep.
Now I'm just going to get rid of that old word almonds into the mixing bowl. And then over here, I'm going to need to do the same thing. So I'm going to press my blade speed here and I'm going to go 8 seconds. And then I'm going to say speed. Again, I've lost my speed. All right, speed 8. Perfect. Save. Oh, what was that? Supposed to be on speed 10, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to do. Yeah. If I want to edit that, I just click on it again and then I can change it there. So it is, although it feels it would look quite clunky from the way that I'm doing it, my screen's jumping a little bit. It isn't hard. It is just a little bit clunky and a little bit slow the first couple of times that you do it. I talked to one of my consultants today and said, I've got 46 recipes on there already. So if you've done that many, you will be very, very confident and really quick at doing it all. I'm just going to leave that there as meal. And then when I get over here, I'm just going to press enter again. That's going to add me another step. So when this shows up on the screen, it'll say place 120 grams. Click on it, your scales will come up. It'll say 120 grams. And then you'll exit the scale and then it'll go back here and say now mill for 8 seconds. And you click on that 8 seconds and it'll come up as guided cooking. 8 seconds, go around to speed 10. All right. So that is just how you've got to go through your recipe. Go through it and see here, adding rest of your ingredients. You would then have to go through, click your scales and basically, add all of those ingredients in. So it would take you a little bit of time to do it. Just initially, it might take you 5 or 10 minutes, but it's also then done. And it's instantly done. So if you go to your Thermomix, it will all be there. You can click through those steps. And if you don't like how any of them look, you can just jump back on and adjust it, even from your phone from within the app. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm going to press confirm on that one and done. You've seen that. Now, the last way to pop them in is to press create recipe. Now, this is where I want to just do one that I've completely developed myself. So I'm going to say Joe's biscuit recipe. Actually, my pancake recipe, this is the one I need to put in. My pancake recipe. Create. So over here, I can pop a photo in if I want a photo on my recipe. And then here, everything is left as it is. Now, this is my own pancake recipe. I don't need to write in there a prep time and a total time and how many it serves. I'm quite happy to leave that all open. What I would do is just click add ingredients and then go through that process of 250 grams of plain flour and, whatever it is, 100 grams of milk, 4 eggs, be pretty random, be funny pancake mixture, but you're getting my drift. And then over here, add in your step. And that might look like, place, and then again, go here. Doesn't come up on mine very well, but you know that it would be there. I'm going to show on mine. When we click there on your screen, you will see ingredients list, and that flour, milk, and eggs will all be listed underneath your ingredients. And you'll just be able to click on whatever ones they are, and they'll all show up there. So it is quite easy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, again, takes a little bit of time to go through it and set it all up initially. But once you've done that, like this is a pancake recipe I make all the time. I made it this weekend and I just took note of the weights. So now all I need to do is just pop them into here, actually put it all down as steps. It's only 2 steps, so it's nice and easy. And then that'll just be there as guided cooking. And I know it's going to get easier and easier every time that I cook it then, because I'm not having to go backwards and forwards.
Where the ingredients is there, next to add, there's a bit that says linked. What's that?
I'm not sure now. I don't know if that's not showing all of my screen. That's brand new. That wasn't on there last week. So I'm not sure, yeah, if I wasn't zooming, something else will be popping up or not. Because I lose my screen about here. I've got, I don't know if you can see the rest of that, but I can't see the rest of my screen from there down. I'm not actually sure what that is, what that means by linked. I don't know. I'd have to find out. That, like I said, that's brand new. They're developing this all the time. So, you know, the way that that it's now toggling your ingredients and things, that wasn't there before. So this will just continue to improve. And if you do find anything in here that you think could be done better, please let us know and we'll pass that feedback back on, because we want this to work, you know, for everybody. All right. Does anybody have any other questions?
I had a recipe that was on Cookidoo, and I can't remember the exact name, but essentially it was porridge, but porridge for 1 person serve. Oh, it had the main bit of the recipe at the top, and then down the bottom in the notes, it said for 1 person. Now, if I look in Cookidoo on my iPad, that shows up, but Cookidoo on the Thermomix, that doesn't show up, the 1 person setting. So if I were to do that, like edit the recipe, I could sort of put that 1 serve in the actual recipe step by step then, couldn't I? Because it shows up on the iPad. Yeah.
Yep. You could just create, like, you could either import the porridge recipe and adjust it, or you could go create and add all just the ingredients and steps in there for the 1 person porridge.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could do that either way.
Okay. Because I had to resort to a sticky label on top with edited directions.
Yeah, so that would be much better for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Is there any other questions?
No, sorry, Joe. My internet kept kicking me out. So.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, but that's okay. Yeah, I learned bits and pieces. That was good.
Well, I'll see how this goes. I might be able to get this recording out and up. I'm going to.
Okay.